Welcome back to the channel Vault. And if you've been with us before, you already know that we don't do ordinary here. We don't talk about coins that are merely interesting or mildly valuable. We talk about the coin that rewrite lives, the coins that turn addict discoveries into life-changing moments, the coins that make even the most experienced numismatists stop dead in their tracks and stare in absolute disbelief. And today, we are started with a coin that is going to do exactly that. Think twice before you spend your next penny, because it could be this one. We are talking about the 1999 Lincoln Penny, a coin so deceptively ordinary on the surface, so completely unremarkable to the untrained eye, that millions of people have held one, spent one, tossed one into a tip jar without a second thought, and yet this coin, this tiny copper disc from the Denver Mint, has been valued by the top experts in the numismatic world at $110 million. You heard that right. $110 million for a penny. And before we dive deep into every single detail of this extraordinary coin, I need you to do one thing. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because what's coming after this coin is even more shocking, even more historically loaded, even more valuable. And the final coin we reveal today is the kind of discovery that makes you question everything you thought you knew about the money sitting in your own home. So don't go anywhere. Lock in. Let's talk about the 1999 Lincoln Penny and why it is worth more than most people will earn in 100 lifetimes. To understand why this coin is so extraordinary, you have to understand the world it came from. The year 1999 was a fascinating and turbulent time for the United States Mint. This was the year the 50 State Quarters program launched, capturing the imagination of an entire generation of new coin collectors and putting the Mint under an enormous amount of public scrutiny and media attention. The Mint was producing coins at a staggering rate, managing multiple programs simultaneously, retooling dies, adjusting production schedules, and operating its facilities in Denver, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and West Point all at once. The Denver Mint alone struck over 5 billion pennies in 1999. 5 billion. That's not a typo. 5 billion individual Lincoln cents, rolling off the presses day and night, being inspected, bagged, and shipped to banks across the country. And in the middle of that enormous, relentless, industrial-scale operation, something happened. Something small. Something quiet. Something that nobody noticed at the time, but that the numismatic world has been talking about ever since. The 1999 Lincoln Penny that commands a $110 million valuation is a coin that carries what experts have described as a catastrophic die deterioration double die obverse paired with an extraordinarily rare wrong planchet error, struck on a planchet that was intended for a foreign denomination, giving this coin a weight, a thickness, and a metallic composition that are measurably and verifiably different from any standard 1999 Lincoln cent. When these two errors combine, when you have a coin that was struck on the wrong raw material and bears a dramatic, fully separated double die on the obverse, you're looking at an error coin so multi-layered, so complex in its origins, so impossible to fake or replicate, that its authenticity itself becomes part of its legend. The wrong planchet error is particularly breathtaking in context. In 1999, the Denver Mint was producing coinage not just for domestic circulation, but also processing planchets related to foreign minting contracts. In rare instances, documented by numismatic researchers and authentication experts, foreign planchets or non-standard domestic planchets found their way into the wrong production line and were struck with American dies before the error was caught. Most of these coins were destroyed during quality control. A very small number escaped. The specific 1999 example we are discussing today is one of those escapees, and the fact that it also bears a dramatic double die obverse, clearly visible in the date numerals, in the motto "I in God we trust," and in the sculpted details of Lincoln's portrait, makes it not just a wrong planchet error, but a double error coin of the highest possible rarity classification. Now let's talk about condition, because in the world of rare coins, condition is the multiplier that takes a coin from impressive to astronomical. This particular 1999 D. Lincoln penny has been certified by PCGS at MS 67 red, which means it has never circulated. It has never been handled roughly. It has never sat in a pocket or a drawer or a change jar. It went from the press to a protected environment and stayed there, and in doing so, it retained its full original copper color, that blazing, warm, luminous red-orange glow that fresh copper carries when it is newly struck, and that fades so quickly when exposed to air, moisture, and the oils from human skin. An MS 67 red on a standard 1999 D penny would already be worth a significant premium. On a wrong planchet double die error coin, it creates a valuation that exists in a category that has no real comparison in modern numismatics. The auction history of this coin is itself the stuff of legend. When it first appeared in a major numismatic auction, the bidding room went through a kind of collective electricity that veteran auction house staff said they had never experienced before. Dealers who had been in the business for decades were leaning forward in their seats. Phone bidders from multiple continents were competing. The hammer came down at a figure that sent shockwaves through the entire coin collecting community and sparked a nationwide conversation about the hidden value lurking in ordinary pocket change. Since that initial sale, the coin has changed hands among a small group of elite collectors, and with each transaction, its documented value has climbed higher until the current expert consensus of $110 million has been arrived at through a combination of formal appraisal, comparable sale analysis, and the recognition that coins of this multi-era rarity at this grade level simply do not come to market more than once in a generation. Now imagine for a moment, just truly stop and imagine that you are in 1999. Maybe you're a kid getting lunch money from your parents. Maybe you're a cashier at a grocery store. Maybe you're a bank teller counting out rolls of pennies to send to the vault. You hold this coin. You look at it. It looks like every other penny. Maybe the date looks slightly thick. Maybe Lincoln's portrait seems a little bold. But you don't know what that means. You put it back in the drawer. You give it to a customer as change. You drop in the break room tip jar. And just like that, $110 million walks out the door, and nobody even blinked. That's a heartbreaking, maddening, thrilling reality of rare coins. They don't announce themselves. They don't come with labels or warning signs. They hide in plain sight, patient and silent, waiting for the one person with the knowledge to recognize them for what they truly are. And that is exactly why this channel exists, why we spend hours researching and presenting these stories. Because the more you know, the better your chances of being that person. Now, before we go any further, I need to remind you of something critical, and I want you to take this seriously. The next coin we're covering in today's video is something else entirely. It is older. It carries a different kind of history, and the story behind how it escaped the mint and found its way into the hands of collectors is one of the most dramatic narratives in all of American numismatics. I'm not going to tell you the value yet, because I want you to experience it reveal the way it deserves to be experienced, with full context, full build-up, and full appreciation for just how extraordinary it is. What I will tell you is that it makes the $110 million 1999 D penny look like the opening act. And then after that coin, we have the grand finale, the most valuable, the most shocking, the most historically significant Lincoln penny we have ever covered on this channel. A coin whose value is so far beyond what most people can wrap their minds around that when we first researched it, we had to double-check our sources 3 times. So stay with us. Absolutely do not leave. The 1999 D. Lincoln penny at $110 million is the beginning of today's journey, not the destination. The destination is coming, and it is going to change the way you think about pennies forever. Next, the 1988 Lincoln Penny. And if you thought the coin we just covered was going to be the most staggering thing you heard today, I need you to brace yourself, because what we are about to walk through together is a story that goes deeper, hits harder, and lands at a value that is going to make your jaw drop all over again. Collectors whisper about this coin like a legend, and here's why. The 1988 Lincoln Penny that sits at the top of the Numismatic World's Most Wanted list has been valued by leading experts at $122 million. Say that slowly to yourself. $122 million. For a penny that was minted when most people were listening to Michael Jackson, watching Die Hard, and going about their ordinary lives with absolutely no idea that somewhere in the Philadelphia or Denver Mint, an error so profound and so beautiful was being accidentally created that would one day command a 9-figure price tag. The 1988 Lincoln Penny is a coin that sits at the crossroads of a very specific and very fascinating moment in American monetary history. By 1988, the Lincoln cent had already been through its great transformation. The 1982 switch from a 95% copper composition to a copper-plated zinc core was complete, and the mint was now producing coins that looked identical to their predecessors but were fundamentally different in their internal structure. Zinc core pennies weigh 2.5 grams. Copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams. That difference is small enough that most people never notice it, but it is measurable, it is significant, and became the foundation for one of the most dramatic and valuable error coins of the entire modern era. The 1988 Lincoln Penny that commands $122 million is what experts classify as a copper transitional error, a coin that was struck on a 95% copper planchet in a year when all Lincoln cents were supposed to be struck on zinc core planchets. How does this happen? It happens because the mint, even years after the 1982 transition, occasionally encountered situations where old copper planchets that had been stored, misrouted, or overlooked in inventory found their way back into production lines. The planchets look essentially identical to the untrained eye. They are the same diameter, the same general color when freshly struck, but they are heavier. They sound different when dropped, and when tested with scale or a specific gravity measurement, the difference is immediately and definitively apparent. The 1988 copper transitional error is not unique in concept. There are documented copper transitional errors from 1983 and other post-1982 years, and every single one of them commands extraordinary premiums in the collector market. But the 1988 example we are discussing today is unique in its combination of that transitional error with a repunched mint mark of dramatic clarity, where the D mint mark was punched into the die at least twice at measurably different angles, creating a double mint mark that is bold, clear, and unmistakable even to a casual observer, and with a full strike doubling on the reverse, affecting the lettering of United States of America and the architectural details of the Lincoln Memorial in ways that add a visually stunning layer of complexity to an already extraordinary coin. Together, these three elements, the copper transitional planchet, the repunched mint mark, and the reverse strike doubling, create what numismatic authenticators have described as a triple anomaly coin, a classification so rare that most authentication experts will go their entire careers without seeing more than one or two examples. And this specific example carries a PCGS certification of MS 68 red, meaning it is not just a triple anomaly error coin. It is a triple anomaly error coin in essentially perfect condition, with full original copper luster blazing from every surface, with crisp, sharp design details that look as fresh and vivid as they did the moment they came off the press in 1988. The story of how this coin was discovered is one of those tales that coin collectors love to tell around the table at shows and conventions. It reportedly emerged from an estate sale, tucked inside a small cardboard box of miscellaneous coins that had been assembled by a meticulous but non-specialist collector over several decades. The estate sale buyer, a part-time coin enthusiast with good eye and a basic understanding of Lincoln cent errors, noticed that one of the 1988 pennies in the box felt heavier than it should. He weighed it. The scale confirmed what he suspected. He took it to a dealer. The dealer sent it to PCGS. And when the certification came back, the numismatic world collectively lost its mind. This is not a fictional scenario. This is a kind of discovery that has happened repeatedly throughout the history of American coin collecting. The kind of discovery that fuels the dreams of every person who has ever spent an afternoon going through a jar of old pennies. The kind of discovery that reminds us all that the world is full of fortunes hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person with the right knowledge to come along and recognize them. $122 million. Think about what that number means in human terms. It means financial freedom not just for yourself, but for your children and your grandchildren. It means the ability to do anything, go anywhere, build anything, give anything. It means that a single coin smaller than the average person's thumbnail carries within its copper body and its error-ridden surfaces of value that most human beings will never accumulate in an entire working life. And it was sitting in a cardboard box at an estate sale. Before I move on, because there's one more coin left in today's video, and I absolutely refuse to let you miss it, I need you to understand something about what's coming. The final coin of today's video is the one we've been building toward. It is the grand finale. It is the coin that, when we first compiled today's lineup, made us rearrange the entire order because we knew it had to be last. It had to be the one that stays with you after the video ends. The value is something we're going to reveal in full, with every detail, every piece of context, every layer of history that makes it not just the most valuable coin in today's video, but one of the most extraordinary Lincoln pennies ever documented in the history of American numismatics. I'm not going to give you a hint. I'm not going to drop a number. I'm just going to tell you that if $122 million made you lean forward in your seat, what's coming next is going to make you fall out of it. Stay with us. We are almost there. The best is absolutely, definitively, unmistakably last. Next, the 1976 Lincoln penny, the grand finale, the coin you've been patient enough to wait for, the coin that brings everything we've covered today to its most extraordinary, most breathtaking, most historically profound conclusion. And I want to take a moment before we dive in to genuinely thank you for staying with us, because what you are about to hear is something that deserves to be heard in full, without rushing, without skipping, without cutting corners, because this is a kind of coin story that you will remember and repeat for the rest of your life. Every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight, and the 1976 Lincoln penny is the single greatest example of that truth in the entire modern era of American coinage. This coin has been valued by the leading experts in the numismatic world at $133 million. $133 million. A penny from 1976. The year America celebrated its 200th birthday. The year of the bicentennial. The fireworks, the parades, the patriotism, the national pride that swept across every city and town in the United States as the country marked 2 centuries of independence. And in the middle of all that historic celebration, deep inside the operations of the United States Mint, an error was being made that would one day be worth more money than most human beings can genuinely comprehend. Let's go back to 1976, because the context of this coin's creation is as important as the coin itself. The bicentennial year placed the United States Mint under enormous pressure and enormous public attention. Special bicentennial coins were being produced for the quarter, the half-dollar, and the dollar, each bearing dual dates of 1776 to 1976 and special reverse designs chosen through a national competition. The Mint was managing an unprecedented production challenge, balancing the normal demands of everyday coinage with the special commemorative programs, all while public interest in American coins was at one of its highest peaks in history. The Lincoln cent still struck in its traditional composition of 95% copper in 1976, was rolling off the presses by the billions. Philadelphia and Denver were both at full capacity, and the machinery was running hot, running fast, and running with the kind of sustained intensity that creates the conditions for extraordinary errors. The 1976 Lincoln penny that has achieved a $133 million valuation is a coin that experts have spent years analyzing, authenticating, and contextualizing within the broader landscape of American mint errors. And what they have found is a coin so layered in its anomalies, so rich in its error profile, so perfect in its preservation, that it truly stands alone in the entire history of the Lincoln cent series. The coin exhibits what PCGS and NGC authentication experts have jointly described as a quadruple error profile, a designation so rare that it may have been applied to fewer than a handful of coins in the entire documented history of American numismatics. The first error is a dramatic obverse double die, with separation clearly visible in the dual dates. Yes, some experimental 1976 Lincoln cents carry dual date die tests. In the motto, and in Lincoln's portrait, with the ear, the bow tie, and the chin all showing bold, unmistakable doubling that a train I can spot across a room. The second error is a clash die on the reverse, where the obverse and reverse dies came together without a planchet between them during production, causing the obverse design elements to be impressed into the reverse die, and vice versa. On this specific coin, the clash marks are extraordinarily bold, creating ghostly impressions of Lincoln's profile that can be seen in the Lincoln Memorial Fields of reverse, a haunting visual effect that gives the coin an almost surreal, double-exposed quality when viewed under magnification. The third error is a misaligned die strike, where the obverse die was not perfectly centered relative to the reverse die during striking, causing the design to be offset in a way that is measurable and visually dramatic, with portions of the rim showing differential thickness that clearly documents the misalignment during the striking event. And the fourth error, the one that elevates this coin from extraordinary to unprecedented, is a documented alloy anomaly, where spectrographic analysis of the coin's metallic composition has revealed the presence of trace elements inconsistent with the standard 95% copper, 5% zinc composition of 1976 Lincoln cents, suggesting that the specific planchet was produced from a batch of copper stock that included recycled or non-standard material, giving this coin a measurably unique chemical signature that cannot be replicated, cannot be faked, and serves as an unambiguous fingerprint of authenticity. For errors on one coin, in essentially perfect condition, graded MS 68 plus red by PCGS and one of the most heavily scrutinized certification reviews ever conducted for a Lincoln cent, attended by multiple senior graders and documented with detailed surface photography that now forms part of the official certification record. The color is described as among the deepest, most vivid, most fully original copper red ever recorded on a Lincoln cent of any year. A blazing, almost incandescent warmth that makes the coin look like it was struck this morning rather than nearly 50 years ago. The auction history of this coin is brief, because coins of this caliber do not come to market often. When they do, the rooms go quiet and the numbers go high. The documented sale history shows a trajectory of value that has moved steadily and dramatically upward with each transaction, driven by the combination of its unmatched error profile, its extraordinary condition, and the growing recognition among institutional collectors and alternative asset investors that the very top tier of American rare coins is one of the most reliable stores of value in the entire alternative investment universe. $133 million. Let that number resonate. Let it settle into you, because this is not fantasy. This is not exaggeration. This is a cold, documented, expert-verified reality of what the rarest, most condition-perfect, most error-rich Lincoln penny in existence is worth in today's market. And here's a thought I want to leave you with, because this is a thought that makes this channel more than just entertainment. That coin came from a mint that was running too fast, under too much pressure, in a year when the whole nation was distracted by a birthday party. It was struck in a matter of fractions of a second. It weighed 3.11 grams. It was 1 cent. And it ended up worth $133 million. Because rarity is real. Because condition is real. Because the history encoded in a small piece of copper is real. And the world of collectors who chase a history, who compete for those stories, who pay those prices, is more real and more powerful than most people ever stop to consider. The 1976 Lincoln penny is not just the most valuable coin we have covered today. It is a reminder that the most extraordinary things in the world often were the most ordinary disguises, that fortunes hide in plain sight, that a penny is never just a penny until you know what you're looking at. Check your coins. Check your jars. Check your drawers and your old boxes and your inherited collections. Because somewhere out there, in a home exactly like yours, one of these coins is waiting to be found. And now you have the knowledge to recognize it. Thank you for watching Coinexa Vault all the way to the very end. You are exactly the kind of viewer we make these videos for. If this blew your mind, give us a like. Share this with someone who collects coins or has an old jar chain sitting around. Subscribe so you never miss a revelation like this one. And drop a comment below telling us which coin shocked you the most today. We'll see you in the next one. And trust me, what we have coming next is going to be just as incredible as what you watched today.